When we're talking about creating styles, I like to separate this in two separate ways or path. The first one being when you have the brand established, so you have the brand guidelines. The second is when you don't have anything. You don't have a logo, you don't have colors, you don't have the font family of your choice. And this is pretty much the path we're going to follow throughout the course because we're creating our projects without anything. We don't have any material, right? But just to give you an understanding on how is to work with the brand guidelines, when you have a brand established, so when you join a company or a project that the client already have everything, helps you because you already have the colors, you already have the font families, you already have the logo, the symbol to work with, and this help is because they even probably have the color palette already created, the font styles already created. What are the fonts for uh, titles, paragraphs, call to actions, footnote, hints, everything. So it's a lot easier to work with. But because we are learning all this stuff, uh, in this week, we're going to learn how to create our styles for colors and fonts. So starting with colors, uh, it's like the very foundation of any project, right? And basically, we have two systems. We have RGB and CMYK. Uh, and CMYK, it's a lot more used for print work because it's a system that combining all the colors, you have less colors on the color wheel, on the color palette than RGB. On the digital environment, we use RGB for everything. And basically, uh, we have two ways of creating the colors using the RGB scale, uh, which are those numbers here. And you can see here on the Figma color panel that so we have the three boxes R, GB, red, green, and blue. So if you add 255 for red, 0 for green, 0 for blue, that is your plain red. If you add 0 for red, 255 for green, 0 for blue, you have your main green, so on and so forth. But often we use the hexadecimals because it's the way the code work is the way that the machine understand everything. And we have two sets of algorithms, sorry, two set of characters for each one coming from 0 to F. So FF means white, 00 means black for each of the colors. Uh, but you don't need to remember from the top of your head all those hexadecimals. We have tons of ways to determine a color. But things you need to understand here about colors is you have the hues, we have the values, and we have the saturations. So coming back to hue, hue is the attribute of the color. Red, blue, green, yellow, orange, pink, gray, black, white, whatever. Uh, for the value is the relative lightness or darkness of the color. So you can think about like if you're using like a light pink, you have more white value on that pink. So using a dark blue, you have more black value on that color. And the saturation is the intensity of the color, is how much that color vibrates in the screen. So like if you have like the bright red, like the pure red, and you have like a more pale red, the bright blue, more pale blue, those kind of things. Those are the important things we need to understand about colors, plus the color theory, the color psychology that I, it's not enough time to properly explain color theory here in the course, but just like things that you're already familiar. Green means go, red means stop, yellow is a warning, blue is a more cooler color that reflects in more like a calm situation. Orange is a warm color, and you can maybe feel like, oh, this is like heat or something. If you mix red and yellow, you kind of like creates the anxiety, hungry uh, feelings. That's why McDonald's is red and yellow. So that there's a lot of, around uh, color theory and color psychology that you can search more. But for our purpose here, uh, those are the main. Uh, how can I say this? The main uh, topics around color, right? So to start our project, coming back to my Figma here, my project. Remember last week we create this wireframe. But right now we need to create our color palette. So I have here my page called File Library. I even have some ideas of a logo. I'm not sure if we're going to use this, but I need to create my colors. I need to create my set of palettes. And the basic stuff here we can do is create like a frame and start adding colors. Open here, select, duplicate, oops, duplicate the frame. Come on. Duplicate the frame, uh, change. And it is a lot of work and waste of time. And that's why we have here the Tailwind color palette, the color generator. Tailwind is a framework very used nowadays for CSS, and this saves tons of time. The link of this app is also in this lesson, and basically you grab whatever color you want from Figma. You're not seeing the color right now, but like I'm grabbing that red that I selected, so I paste it here. And this color generator creates this whole palette here. It's super easy. I can use contrast grids to understand more. Like, of course, this is the free version, but you can see here the accessibility, the hues, the values, the saturation of the colors, everything. It's super easy to use. And the best thing is that they have the Figma plugin. So you can come here, you can download the Figma plugin, which I already have. So coming back to my Figma, I can come here on plugins and select Tailwind CSS color generator, or simply hit command / and type Tailwind, and here is my plugin. So if I paste that color red here, and I can create like generate color guide and create styles. Boom. It is that easy. Let's just organize this quickly. You already know that I'm very organized with my files. So here it is. I have the color palette, and on the properties panel, I have my styles. Uh, the the Tailwind, the plugin called this Monza. I can totally rename this to red. And you see that the values here are like from 50 to 950. This is also helps developers to understand the styles and tokens creation. Let's say you don't want to use this because there's a lot of colors here. There's a lot of options. How can I manually create my styles? So basically, we have this waffle menu here on Figma. It opens this other menu. You type the plus. Remember to select style, not variable. Variable is a completely different thing. We're not going to cover variables here in this course because it's a very advanced feature on Figma. So remember to select the style, and you can add whatever name you want. So let's say like bright red and create style. So you can see here that I have bright red and I have all the other reds. Why I prefer to use the plugin? Because it saves time, it makes everything more organized, and it's already the naming conventions ready for developers. Because if you start to adding a lot of names for your color styles, for sure at some point developers will start asking you, hey, where's this color? Where's the value for the bright red? What is navy blue? Those kind of things. The main focus of this plugin is to save time, speed up the process, and easy on the development handoff. So let's open that plugin again and create the blue. So I grab here my blue, oops, select, copy, paste. No, not that. Come on, it's this one. Copy, paste it, create color guide, and generate styles. So now I have my red and blue. I don't know why they put very like whatever. So here it is. Now, why it is important to create the styles? Because let's go back here to my wireframe. I'm gonna duplicate this and rename to visual. Why it is important to have styles? Imagine here if I have this button and manually add the blue color, right? And if I have, I don't know, maybe 3 pages with the same button, and then the client says, hey, we are not going to use blue as our accent color for our CTA. And I'm, oh, damn, okay. I need to manually change each color here, one by one. Now, think about it if you have dozens of screens, hundreds of screens, depending on the size of the project and the company. Now, if I'm adding styles here, to add the style, I simply click on the waffle menu and select the styles that I want. Boom. Now, all those buttons have the same style. And let's say if we change this to maybe a brighter blue, let's see what happens. Magic. You see, like all the elements that have that style applied will change as well. This saves tons of time, especially when you use components. One other thing that you might consider using is when I select the frame, you see here that I have blue /600 and I have all the other colors. When I have the hexadecimals showing up, is showing me that that element is not using a style. So if I hit the target here, it will select all the blacks. And I can select here and change that easy. Well, terrible choices, Daniel, but you got the point. So in this case, if I have here the screens selected, and because of that suggestion of the client, hey, we're not using blue, we're using red, I simply select the target here. So all the elements that are using the blue 600, and I change to the red 600. That's the beauty of styles. That's how we speed up our process. That's how we organize our file. And that's how we proper hand off to developers when we have our styles. So far, we only worked on the colors. Feel free to play back this lesson again, or message me on our Slack channel if you have any more questions. See you in the next lesson.